Welcome to the Winning Talent with a Mobile First Strategy with Teambridge. We've got 30 minutes today to talk about some of the challenges that staffing agencies face. Before we dig deeper into this, who am I and why should you care what I have to say? My name is Austin Gatos. I'm an account executive here at Teambridge. I spend most of my days talking to recruiters, credentialing specialists, operations leaders, and executives at staffing companies. And joining me today is Arjun. Arjun?
Hey, hi everyone. I'm the founder, co-CEO at Teambridge. We started Teambridge, from our early days at Uber. We built out, the Teambridge team built out the Uber driver app. That was really fun. When, we were doing this early days, we called Uber one of the world's biggest staffing companies. And, a large focus on the Uber team was on that driver experience, which were our staff. And we wanted to make sure they have the best in class experience out there. So we built out the driver app and we took all those learnings where we scaled Uber from, a few thousand workers to 4 million drivers, made it the world's biggest staffing company, took those learnings and kind of brought them to Teambridge so that, all businesses like yours can have that first class mobile experience. And today we are here to talk about that mobile first strategy that staffing firms are deploying in order to win in this day and age.
Nice. Thanks, Arjun. And that's a really good segue into mobile and why mobile is so important. The folks that you have on staff, they're using apps like Airbnb, Uber, DoorDash, Instagram, Instacart every single day. These are high quality, beautiful, easy to use consumer apps. And that really hasn't been available for the workforce, especially the staffing workforce. And so one of the things that we're looking to bring is that high quality mobile experience that's just as good, as pleasurable, as great as using something like an Airbnb or an Uber. Arjun, I've got a question for you. What's in your pocket right now?
Well, I have my phone, I have my wallet, and I have, a bunch of keys.
And if I were to take all of those things from you right now, which is the first one you'd have to replace?
Oh man. Honestly, if I would be bummed if you took my wallet. But if you think about it, I mostly now use, my Apple Wallet, and I have all my credit cards in there. And we also have moved to a smart lock. So, I don't need my keys anymore because I use my phone for everything now. So, honestly, if my phone was gone, I would be screwed.
Yeah, it's really funny you mentioned that. Having the phone in your pocket is really owning real estate in someone's purse or pocket. We were actually on a customer call today, and someone was buying a house. He's talked about Zillow being in his pocket, and how the notifications he gets because he's engaged every time Zillow pings, he's opening up his phone, he's looking at Zillow, and kind of creating that type of engagement is something that's really powerful. And we'll talk about today in creating a beautiful white labeled application.
Yeah, I think it's great that you bring up Zillow because, I recently changed, who we bank with at home. And, banks are so important. They kind of hold your money, but we changed. And one of the biggest decisions was what app they had and how accessible it was and how much I could do on it. Because it was just like, if I need to transfer money, I need something, I get notified. It's all there for me. So big decisions that people are making they're making based on, what apps they have. And it's because they're spending 4 to 5 hours on their phone already every day, right? Our surveys show us that this workforce, most of them are coming into the market right now. The millennials, the Gen Zs, the boomers even are spending hours a day on their phones, right? And that's the insight that we learned, during our time at Uber, that, at Uber, there was not even a desktop version, no web version for these drivers, right? And oftentimes you think about like, hey, are they tech savvy enough? In fact, mobile is the most simplest, device. It has, very focused real estate area where you're doing one or two things at a time versus a computer and a web, which is a lot more complicated. In Uber, we had rickshaw drivers in Indonesia using that, Uber app while they were riding the rickshaw, right? That's the focus on the design. That's the focus on that, mobile experience that helps you win in this day and age. And I think,
Yeah.
yeah, go ahead, Austin.
Oh, no, go ahead, Arjun.
Yeah, so look, I think, there has been an evolution, right? It was not always this way. Before Uber, I used to work at this company that, some of you may have heard of. It was named Salesforce, right? Salesforce is like, if you think about the Salesforce and a bunch of other, companies that sprung up during that time, the focus, and that's, by the way, with most of the staffing softwares out there, even today, the focus is that admin experience, right? And that's it. It stops there. There's beautiful, well, oftentimes clunky, I would say, but robust, interfaces for those admins to, go into their desktops, be able to do things, but it stops there. What are you doing for your workers? Phone calls, emails, texts, right? When we surveyed, staffing, folks, nurses and light industrial workers and so forth, what they told us? They're like, hey, I get a notification from a random number asking me for my SSN. And I'm like, who is this? That's the problem with not focusing on your employees. We are in a supply constrained market today. The expectation, the floor of what they expect from technology has risen. Why? Because they're using WhatsApp, they're using Instagram, they're using Facebook, Airbnb, OpenTable, Uber, DoorDash, all these apps outside of work. But when they come into work to put food on the table for their families, they have to use clunky, situations. They have to use SMS, texts, emails, and they're going to forget those, right? So,
Arjun, it's really interesting point too, because when we've talked with staffing folks, when they have to do something like upload a picture of a driver's license or do a credentialing piece, they're already using their phone. They're taking a picture of their driver's license with their phone, switching to a different application to email it into their employer, the staffing agency that they're working with. Um, and so, by centralizing that workflow that they're already doing on their phone into a, white labeled mobile application, it's a better experience. It's easier. On the back end, it's coming directly into the specific place where it needs to be rather than, going into someone's email inbox where it then has to be filed. So there's really a lot of efficiencies that can be unlocked with that white label mobile experience. And it ties into what the folks are already doing anyways.
you're absolutely right, right? And the numbers speak for it, right? You have, engagement up by around 60%. A lot more folks are engaging with your brand. You have onboarding time, what Austin's talking about. Their time to first, shift is reducing by 38%, where now they don't need to find that email or find that text message. They just open up your app and they're able to upload, they're able to see their progress right there. They get that notification right here. And I think the important thing about this is also, they don't need to know that email is from, this company or that company and this software. They just need to know that they need to open up your mobile app. It's your brand name in there, right? Teambridge's brand name is in fact completely out of the picture, right? Because what you are doing is you're building a marketplace, right? An app like Teambridge is allowing you to build a mobile marketplace, not very dissimilar to what Uber did, what DoorDash has done, what Airbnb has done, right? Where they've connected, two sets of folks. They've connected the clients to the staff. And you are that centralized marketplace, right? So if I want to make some money, I download your staffing company's app. I'm able to onboard there. I'm able to see the jobs available. I'm able to clock in and get paid. Fun last, survey that I'll tell you about is majority of the people coming into the workforce today, the new people coming into the workforce are Gen Zs and millennials. 25% of them don't even like to talk to humans anymore, right, Austin? It's a funny stat, right? But it's the truth. And in the absence of a mobile app like this, today, you can't reach those 25% of the people. They're just not going to work for you, right? But if you did have that mobile app, immediately, your TAM increases by 25%. It's those people. And by the way, trust me, they're great folks. They will work hard. They will make money for you, very disciplined. It's just what they are used to in this day and age.
Yeah, it's a great point, Arjun. And I think that's a great segue into kind of the mobile demo portion of the webinar today.
So, enough talking. Let's get to it, right? Let's get to the meats and potatoes of this. Now, we are going to go through one by one all of the different modules within that mobile experience. Now, remember, there's one very important caveat here. All of our customers' mobile apps, they look different, they work differently. Because one of the key theses of Teambridge is you are the masterminds. We don't want to tell you how you should build that experience. We want to make it flexible for you, for how you want to run your workforce. We will give you those Lego blocks, right? Teambridge will give you the Lego blocks, but Austin might want to build a Mercedes G-Wagon with his Lego blocks. Julia might want to build, a Ferrari, right? So here I'm going to show you one of the instances of, what that worker, that staff experience might look like. But if you want to change things around, if you want to, spruce it up a little bit, you can do it. It will be your branding, your logo, your culture disseminated through this mobile app. You might want something. There is a staffing company that we have where when someone registers onto their app, it first brings up a video of the owner talking about the cultural values. So let's go in. Okay, let's dive deep in. I am Rachel here. I have an ongoing shift right now at the Children's Medical Center. I also, by the way, am working at this particular contract. I'm getting paid a large amount of money here, it seems, $9,000 a week, significant. I can see that amount right here. I can see how long this contract is for. I'm going to keep going down further. Right now on my home screen, right? My home screen is the key things I need to focus on right now. I have 9 open jobs available for me. I've applied to 2 of them that I'm credentialing onto. Speaking of credentialing, I've completed 4 out of 9 steps on the onboarding. Now remember, Rachel is not going to see all these modules at once, right? If she's onboarded, she's going to, look for jobs. But, we've shown all of them here so that you can get a good idea of the modules available. Now here, I can see that I've completed 4 steps out of my 9 steps. Austin mentioned this. What if I want to upload a driver's license? Today, I'm getting that email. I'm going in, I'm, removing it from my purse or from my wallet, and then I'm taking a picture, and then I'm sending back that email. I'm hoping the admin gets it, or we are texting back and forth. Here, boom, right here, I'm able to complete all of the steps of my onboarding process. I get notified, you see, there are some tasks that I have to do that are overdue. I'm automatically getting those notifications to complete those steps so that my recruiter doesn't have to bother constantly pinging me. Now, what we are seeing here, I think the very important thing to point out here, we are seeing 30 to 40% faster onboardings, right? Because remember, during our Uber days, Austin, believe it or not, we even moved vehicle inspection on the mobile app. We told an Uber driver, no matter what, you download our app and you can start driving for us without having to show up to, any of the offices. And that's how you
So,
become
so,
a professional company.
so 4,000 to 4 million drivers, Arjun. None of them ever talked to anyone at Uber, and they were on the road.
See, the thing is, there are some people who need help, right? And they can still go. We had the green light hubs where you could go, you could call, but there was a large section of folks who never spoke to anyone. You're right. A large percentage of those 4 million people, because think about it, how would we have scaled to 4 million if we needed all of them to talk to somebody?
Yeah, great point.
All right. And, there are questions that are going to come up. I'll try to answer them, as we go. If we can't get to them, we'll make sure we leave time at the end. We have Angie asking, how long has this, been available? I think, Julia, feel free to chime in. A white label has been available for, more than 2 years now. We have strong relationships with Apple and Google. We do all the work to get your app up and running. Onboarding has been live for over a year now. We've constantly added new features, like, for example, what type of onboarding tasks are there? The one I showed you here was a document upload. There could be e-signatures in here. I need my employees to sign certain documents. So we work, with our partners, with SignNow, DocuSign, and others, so that they don't have to wait to go to their email or find that random email that has a random subject line. They come in here into your app and are able to sign that right here. They can be, onboarding tasks that are videos that they need to watch. There could be, deep links into third-party services, like a background check that they might have to do. So we're constantly adding. Now, remember, onboarding is also very rule-based. So you can have a separate set of onboarding tasks show up to me because I'm an LPN versus RN versus, a forklift operator and so forth. But quick answer to your question, Angie, they both have been around for between, 1 to 2.5 years. Now, what else is here, right, on my homepage? I have a notification from the Arbor staffing team. I also have everything that I need right here, right? I might want to know more about this company. I might have videos from the founder. Hey, you know what? I need to know where the employee handbook is. Now I don't need to bug. Imagine when you have 4,000, 5,000, 10,000, 20,000 staff working for you, all of them pinging you for all these resources, versus you just being able to point them to your mobile app. Hey, go to your mobile app, and there you'll be able to find everything right there. FAQs. What happens if I show up late? What happens, what are the policies of the company? You are now able to disseminate those policies to all of your workers. Here's a fun.
Arjun, you
Yeah, go
you
ahead.
mentioned that sometimes some people do need a little bit of help. What if someone needs some help? What do they email in? Do they call someone? What do they do?
Great question. It's a really, really good question that happens a lot, right? Now, one of the things, that, we built, this was about a year and a half ago. And, you always think about this as an afterthought, but it's like, hey, everything is self-service. Let's just build, a communication center so that if something goes wrong, people think of chat usually as a band-aid, right? If something goes wrong, they can reach out. Now, the cool thing here is this has been one of our most used features because this demographic is very used to chatting. They're doing that on WhatsApp, on iMessage, on Facebook Messenger. Now they're able to do it right here. There's another beautiful aspect to it. It is a little bit of a ticketing system aspect to it, right? Where you may not know who the payroll person is in your staffing company. Do I need to reach out to Lexi or Austin or Julia? It doesn't matter. You can build out your departments in here so that your staff now just need to reach out to that department. Hey, I got paid $10 less than what I expected. Or hey, why is my application stuck on the credentialing stage for so long? And the right folks that you've added to those departments get notified on the admin portal. They are able to help me out. And then they're able to close that ticket, right? So you built out the entire communication center and ticketing system right here. Now, look, remember, I told you it's all composable, right? Some folks might be like, hey, I also want my staff to reach out to other staff, maybe to only other LPNs if they're an LPN, or other RNs if they're an RN, right? And they are able to come here and do that as well. And you can turn that off, you can turn that on. It's in your hands how you want to set this up. Austin, great question. Did that answer your question, Austin, around how they can reach out to the staffing company if they need any help?
Yeah, it's perfect, Arjun.
Beautiful. So that's your homepage, okay? This is a window into everything I need to focus on and all the resources from my staffing company. Now let's
Arjun, just a
go
quick
ahead.
time check. We've got about 8 minutes left, so maybe 4 more minutes to demo and then a couple minutes for questions.
Beautiful. It's perfect. I have 4 sections. I'll spend a minute on each of them. Now to the meat and potatoes, right? We have your jobs board. The beauty of the jobs board is a couple things. Number one is fantastic layouts. You're able to, focus on the right things that you think your workers care about. You can click in, boom. There's a CNA role at Mount Sinai. I'm already compliant for it. Wow. Teambridge automatically checked that I had those documents. I can see all the details about that job. And now I can click here and apply for it. Right there, that's simple. But you know what? I don't like to see this on a list view. I care about what neighborhood I work in. I don't want to commute too much. I just swipe down and I have this beautiful map view, right? And I can see exactly what jobs are available near me. Now I can also create my own preferences. I want high paying RN jobs near me, 50-mile radius. And you know what? I want the app to notify me immediately as soon as a job opens up that matches my preference. So now you're making this app personalized to the staff, to the worker, where they're not having to go in and check every time. They put their kid to sleep, turn on Netflix, and boom, they get a notification. Hey, Julia, there's a job available 10 miles away from you, a job that you told us you prefer. Click here, to accept it. Job fulfillment rates have drastically gone up, right? With customers that go live with Teambridge. You can see all of the jobs you've applied for here. You can see what status they are in. You can communicate, make sure you're up and running. Now, when you're on the job, all of your time clock and your time and attendance is in here with geofencing, with geo-tracking, but very importantly, you can turn on and customize the timesheets as well. You can require, fun things like, hey, things that you always wanted to do, but didn't have the tools to do it. I want to make sure, my workers are rating the clients so that I can make sure where my sales team focuses. On the other hand, I want my clients to rate my workers so that I can put that into the algorithm to, send the right notification to the right person. By the way, there is a facility that doesn't accept, these mobile time clocks. They need paper timesheets, no problem. You have this upload timesheet where they can upload a picture of their paper timesheet so that you don't have to manually manage them. All of the different ways you're doing your timesheets is now incorporated into Teambridge. And once you're done with a shift, your shift is right here, right? You can see all of the shifts that you've completed, how many hours you put in. You can even open up and see, shifts, per diem shifts. Hey, you know what? I'm free, 2 days from now. That looks like there is a $50 per hour shift available for me. I can click here and request that per diem shift. So now you have 2-3 aspects of your business together, right? You have, your travel business, you have your per diem business. I can see, all of my calendars right here. And remember, your per diem shifts can also be on the map view, by the way. That's not just for the travel shifts. And then you have the communication portal, right? This is what I discussed. This is something that, again, is fantastic. Again, think about it. For your workers, you are really doing them so much service because now they can come to one place for everything, right? And finally, your profile page, everything, my earnings summary, how much I've made, my timesheets are in here, my profile, this loaded really, I can see how many shifts I worked, how many hours I put in, how much my pay was for that particular pay period, my profile, my tasks, everything is right here. So I'm going to, sum up this, demo and to ask you, do right by your employees today, right? Remember this. They are not expecting it now. They are demanding it. This is how they are doing business outside of work, on their banks, on, Airbnb, on Uber, everywhere else. And finally, you are helping them do that to put more food on the table for their families. And it's your brand. The most important thing we realize at Teambridge is it's not Teambridge doing this for them. It is your staffing company. It's your brand. Every notification that comes in from your app. You become the opportunities app for them. Your brand identity keeps growing. We have staffing companies that have now started putting out billboards outside their, in their main areas. You want to make money? Download our app right now. You go home on Friday, you come back on Monday, and you're like, wait, who are these 100 people who downloaded the app and have come into stage 4 of the onboarding process? You are finally building that marketplace that you always wanted to build. Back to
And I
you.
know nurses don't do any talking in the break room either, Arjun. I think that's a pretty good way to get referrals as well. Hey, how'd you start working here? Oh, I've got so and so app. Check it out. You can download it right here. Build referrals into that.
Yeah. And look, we want to end with this. Like, look, this is the age where, folks are moving from web-based, from those traditional methods of texts and emails into apps. Folks are making decisions of where they work, who they work with, based on the quality of the experience you're providing them. Again, going back to Uber drivers oftentimes made less money with Uber than they made at the previous jobs. But they still worked for Uber, and we still grew to 4 million because they felt empowered. They were like, I am getting, that level of quality with this app that I get with, my social apps and so forth. And that's helping them decide which staffing company to work for. Because to them, you care about them. If you're giving them the best in class experience, consumer grade experience to put more food on the table for their families. Thank you.
Any questions from the audience in the last minute or so here? I know there's a couple in chat that I think we've addressed and can follow up afterwards. But if there's any others, let them fly.
We have 1 minute. I did have one earlier that said we're looking to get rid of our current HR platform. Will these onboarding features be able to replace? And if so, how would we get new applicants to apply through Teambridge if there's no job posting? So with this, what we can do is there's a couple of different ways. We're happy to discuss this one-on-one with our customers, so we can reach out. I know we don't have much time here. But what you can do is you can do a self-registration if you have the white label app, which is a great way to get people into the app. You can pull them in through as applicants and then take them through that onboarding or that application process. Additionally, we could set up a public form. And that's something where we create a form in Teambridge, you have the URL, you push that out to people, and then they would fill that out, which would create them as users in the system. Again, bringing them in as applicants, they go through the process that they would need to get to the point of being an employee. One more question here, I know we're at time. Would it be possible to set up a way for employees to pick up a shift without approval for positions they're fully credentialed, full access to? And then is there also a way for nurses to request available shifts that may need prior approval? This really depends on your access groups. I'm not sure if I'm fully understanding this question. We might need to take this offline, but
right, I'm happy to answer, Julia. Like Angie, like
yeah, go for it.
You can set it up where, if they're fully credentialed at that particular facility, you have an automation that auto approves them for shifts that they're fully credentialed for. So 100% right. And that goes back to, the early point that how to run your business better. Your secret sauce is your differentiator. This is how you differentiate your staffing company from the others. And what Teambridge's, platform does, it allows you to double down on that secret sauce. So 100% yes, Angie, you can set it up and set up automations that auto approve shifts based on which facilities they're credentialed for. Great question, Burgundy. No, you won't be charged each time a new applicant is signed up. We work on pricing models for you so that, you have, that growth baked in. There are several different ways, that we can work through this. I'll have Julia reach out to you, Burgundy, to make sure that you don't feel the pressure and the pain in your purse and pocket for, the growth that you see with Teambridge's white label mobile app.
And the question that Arjun was answering there is, will we be charged each time a new applicant signs up?
So yeah, that's not how we are charging. It's not based on an applicant sign up. So Burgundy, we are happy to talk to you through this.
All right. Thanks, Arjun. Thanks, everyone, for joining today. I think we're at time. We can certainly follow up with the questions from the chat offline. And if there's any other questions that come up, please don't hesitate to reach out to Teambridge. I'm Austin Gittos. You've been joined by me and Arjun. And
One thing I
appreciate
just
your time today.
clarify, one quick thing I clarify for Burgundy is with the white label app Burgundy, you get a very large pool of applicants included in that. So, there's a little bit of a change in the pricing model once you move to the white label so that, you can get, those people to come in and start working for you without having to worry on changes in price. Sorry, Austin, back to you.
No, great, Arjun. Well, thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful Thursday afternoon, and we will be in touch. Take care.
Appreciate it. Bye, everyone.